Hey everybody, Jake with Bond Performance. Gathered you all here today to talk about the latest and greatest turbo offering on the Mk7 market. I don't have any affiliation with APR. I don't sell any tunes or any turbo hardware, so this is just kind of an informational video. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. This is actually probably going to hurt my sales, the downpipe and well, lots of exhaust parts I sell, but namely the downpipe, because this new turbo is different from the rest on the market in that you don't need to upgrade to an aftermarket downpipe to make the advertised figures given by APR. According to them, now we haven't seen one out in the wild, nobody's done their own independent dyno tests on it, but given APR's track record and my personal experience with them, I'm gonna take their numbers at face value. So we'll just dive into it. They're calling it the DTR6054, down to race, maybe, I don't know what the acronym really stands for. 60 being the millimeter measurement on the inducer of the compressor wheel and 54 on the hot side. So it's a considerable bump over the IS38, which is what's on my personal car. It's gone through the motions since I bought it in December 2015. APR stage 1, 2, and now IS38. I'm kind of considering maybe throwing a DTR6054 on it, but you might have noticed or recognized my FCP Euro shirt. Also not affiliated with them at all, but I am a fan of their lifetime warranty. I'm gonna give them a call and see when they plan to offer this turbo, as they are an APR distributor. So if I can get the new turbo with lifetime warranty at the current, I don't know if it's introductory, well, I can't talk, you know, I don't know if the pricing will stay at $1,500 where it's at currently. So it's kind of one of those things you would expect it to go up, because that's it seems unsustainable to keep it that low, which was probably their goal was to get, you know, the industry talking about what a great deal it is, being that you don't need a downpipe and it includes software at that price. So about 50% cheaper than going with alternate routes, and that's on the low end. Personally, the downpipes that I build, I haven't finalized the numbers yet, but I use GE SI cats exclusively, and they've just made major changes to their lineup, and availability of the Gen 1 cats is completely discontinued. So the compliant check engine light free Gen 2 cats will be the only available option from them or me, which is a good thing, but for those who are modding on a budget, it's putting them into basically an unobtainable price range. So not sure if there's any correlation between APR and GESI, but timing couldn't be better for APR, because for a quality American made downpipe, the price just went up tremendously. So back to the topic of the video, the main point anyway, the DTR6054. APR advertises 406 wheel. All right, so I've got my cheat sheet now. For the GTI, at the wheels, I don't ever talk about crank horsepower numbers. That's like fantasy fairy tale land. What you make before taxes, it's irrelevant. It's not the real numbers. So we're looking at wheel horsepower numbers for the GTI as advertised. 406 and 387 torque for the GTI. The Golf R or S3 with the all-wheel drive powertrain and therefore powertrain losses, looking at 376 horsepower and 369 torque. That's on 93 without the optional fueling upgrades. If you throw the whole suit at it and get multi-port injection, high pressure and low pressure fuel pumps and E85, they're advertising 441 horsepower and 402 foot-pounds of torque. So for the GTI guys, they are not currently offering any fueling upgrades to go along with that turbo. So that 406 horsepower is what you're gonna get. Some people turn their nose up at that, say, well, if I go with the Vortex, I can Pro Tune, I can do E85, I can do just a high pressure fuel pump, just a low pressure fuel pump and controller, I can do multi-port injection. Yeah, that's true, but it's a really apples to oranges situation because they're about the same price, where with the Vortex you're getting just a turbo, with APR you're getting everything you need to install the turbo from what I understand, and that's including the hardware, including the software. So kind of getting back to the exhaust side of things, I get tons of questions, especially on the forums. I'm very active on the golfmk7.com forums. People who are stage one asking, what are they going to need? Just talked to somebody today. They have a OEM CSS or Club Sport S muffler. The 7.5s that have the equivalent is the TCR muffler. These guys are asking what they're going to need to tone down that setup if they go stage two and add a downpipe. And my response I opened with, well, you might want to consider just skipping stage two altogether and either going with the new DTR6054 or the turbo that I have, the OEM IS38, which another plug for FCP Euro. Bought an OEM IHI IS38, who is a manufacturer for Volkswagen, so it doesn't say VW on the turbo, but it is an OEM turbo. Going that route, tuning for the stock downpipe or the DTR6054 tune for a stock downpipe, because as I mentioned earlier, shameless plug for myself, hey, I'm advertising for everybody else, as well advertise for Bond Performance. The cost of a downpipe has just gone through the roof due to these new CAT availability changes and obviously today's economy and the raising costs of precious metals used to make these CATs. So while I'd love to sell everybody a downpipe and a mid-pipe or even a full turbo back exhaust, a cat back, a mid-pipe for their existing AWE, Borla, or APR or MagnaFlow exhaust, if you can only have just one big ticket item, I would say going with a turbo upgrade is obviously going to be the best bang for your buck. With that said, none of these things are an option if you've got a stock intercooler. So again, shameless plug back to myself, I've got two available options for the entire MQB lineup. That's GLI, GTI, R, and the base model Golf. Notice I didn't mention any of the Audis. They've got a different crash bar. Haven't done anything for them yet. Not sure that I will or won't. But my V1 front mount intercooler will support even that DTR 6054 turbo comfortably. I conservatively rate it at 450 horsepower, wheel horsepower, not crank. So not you adding up all the serial boxes from all your aftermarket parts to get some crazy huge number that's not real. The actual wheel horsepower of 450 is comfortably covered by the V1. So don't get ahead of yourselves. That one's $850, installs with simple hand tools at home. Very straightforward OEM plus installation. Or for you guys that are pushing more power or have aspirations to do so in the future, my V2 intercooler does require crash bar cutting, so you'd want to leave that to a professional if you are not well vested with things like that. That one is currently $1250, and that's for the guys making more like 550 horsepower. That's my conservative. It's going to be super happy at that number, not pushing the envelope at all. So yeah, check out my channel, subscribe if you haven't. Check out my parts. I'll post just a few pictures at the end here of the stuff I build. Everything's hand built to order specifically for you. There's no buy now, click here, it'll be there in 12 hours option, with it being all hand built by me personally. There is about a 2 to 3 week lead time from purchase till delivery. But it's not made in some third world country somewhere with those issues that they tend to have. That's enough out of me. Thanks for watching. Go make some horse.